special good morning to the listeners. Good morning to the viewers. Welcome to The Point for today, Thursday, the 16th day of July 2026. Listeners and viewers also via our social media platforms. Good morning to you. Welcome. It's always a pleasure to have you on with us here on the program. We do, of course, entertain various departments within the RGPF every Thursday. Today we do have the prosecution department with us, and we have Superintendent Quintel Charles with us this morning. Good morning to you, sir, and welcome to the program. Nice to have you. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, and thanks for having me.
All right, so welcome.
Good morning to the listening public.
Our focus conversation will be this morning, understanding citizens' rights and police powers. Interesting subject matter, especially around this time of the year. Although it's important through the year, I wouldn't say just for on a seasonal basis.
Yes.
But it's important through the year that folks learn to understand their rights as citizens.
Yes.
And the powers that police have. Because sometimes we get a tendency where we may have misconstrued that.
Right.
You know how powerful a police officer is and the rights as you as a citizen. Mm-hmm. Now, to get this rolling off. Why is public legal literacy considered a foundation of a democratic society?
Well, in a democratic society, we have rights that govern us, and we have the Constitution.
Yes. And
the Constitution guarantees us certain rights. And knowing your rights is very important, because if you don't know your rights, as they say, people can just walk all over you.
So true. So
even the police can walk all over if you don't know what is required, when it is required, what you should do, what you should not do. So your rights, to me, is something that everybody should know, and as you say, as using your own words, it's foundational. Because if you don't know your rights, I believe you're in problems.
So I understand that.
Yeah, a lot of things happen to you, and then you hear a lot of people say, well, I didn't know I could do that.
I didn't know I could have done that.
Yeah,
and you just let it fly by for various reasons.
Yes.
Right. Tell me, how does understanding the law protects citizens from potential abuse, especially from the powers between?
Well, if when you know, you're in a much better place. Because if you don't know, then, as I said, people can actually trample over you. For example, if as a citizen you don't know your rights, and a police officer approaches you, he might tell you under arrest for something that he actually can't arrest you for.
Yeah.
And if you don't know that, then you end up in the cell. Although at the end you have a right to sue, but if you don't know, then you can't sue, because you would think that what he did is correct, and then so your rights get infringed, and then nothing happens. So protecting yourself, protecting your rights, because your rights is also important. Protecting yourself, knowing your rights is also important for protecting your own self.
Yeah.
From arbitrary search and seizure and detainment.
In small societies like Grenada, we have, and sometimes we say it in a regular language. We kind of, we know nothing about the law.
Yes.
A vast majority of us.
Yes.
We pay little or no attention to it until there's an issue will have arrived.
Yes.
You understand? Then we may have a confrontation with a police officer or maybe a family member or something, and we don't know our rights. You understand? In what way can the community benefit, if I may say it that way now, when its members clearly knows their legal boundaries, sir?
Well, knowing your legal boundaries is very, very important, because a lot of times in communities you see people have issues. It's the same word you use, boundary issues. They're talking about land now.
Yes.
So that is one of the things you should know as well, because a lot of times there's a quarrel in the community, and you see somebody who pull up boundary pole.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't even considering it in the process of land, but
but I was just giving an example.
I know, but there are boundaries that less in terms of your rights.
Well, of course. Okay, put it this way: the Constitution guarantees you such rights, but those rights are not absolute.
Yeah.
Those rights are infringed on other people's rights, so you can't just say anything or do anything and feel nothing's going to happen, because that is why we have libel laws. Persons can sue you for defamation and those kind of stuff. Although you have the freedom of speech, the freedom of movement, doesn't mean that you could just walk into somebody's house and nothing will happen to you.
Because you think you have freedom of movement.
Because you think you have freedom, although you have freedom of speech, it doesn't mean that you could tell anybody anything. So the rights are not absolute.
Yeah.
So let's say in a community, if I believe if people know if the rights, I believe we're going to live better, you know.
Yeah.
Because I know that I shouldn't just walk into your house. I shouldn't go into your place and steal. But I believe, well, the thieves are different because they know they know what they're doing and they still do it anyway.
Yeah, that's
but I'm talking about loyal, yes, those people who are more law-abiding.
Yes,
it is important that you know what your boundaries are, as you said.
Yes.
How far can I go?
Yeah.
On those things. So that is important. It is important that the community to live better, more cohesion. Or put it that way, more peaceful. Because you know that then I shouldn't do this. Then somebody else say, well, no, I shouldn't do that. And then we come to the middle and then we have more peace in communities.
Let's focus a wee bit more on the police in this segment right now.
Right.
What is the primary constitutional role of the police in regarding public safety?
Right. So the first function of the police is always to protect and serve.
Yes.
That is the first function. And we protect by trying to deter crime.
Okay.
Right. Trying to educate persons on the same rights. And we try to serve you as much as possible in terms of giving you guidance, solving crime. That's another way to solve, because if you think your rights were infringed and it's criminal, then the police have some functions that they can carry out. We can charge, we can warn, we can do all those things. So the first function is actually protect and serve. Okay. That's the first function. Then the other functions you have, like detecting crime, preventing crime, and those stuff. But the police primary role is to protect and serve the public.
Tell me this: under what specific legal conditions can an officer legally detain a citizen?
All right. So, I could detain you on suspicion.
Yes.
So if I suspect you of committing a crime,
yes,
I could detain you. I could detain you on the complaint of a third person. So if somebody says you commit a crime, I could detain you for that. So if somebody comes up and says, for example, officer, this man just chopped me. I mean, I wasn't there, I didn't see. But there is a complaint of a third person, so I can detain you on that grounds. And I could detain you if you actually commit the crime. Yeah. So if I am, on site then. So
I guess the evidence will present itself also.
Right. So if the police officer sees somebody committing a crime, of course he could detain or arrest the person. Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Understandably so. Yeah. Now, how do statutory laws define the scope of a reasonable force during an arrest? That's something I always want to get to answer,
Well, Title 7 of the Criminal Code speaks about justifiable force and harm.
Yes.
So there's a whole section of the law telling you how much force you could use based on the circumstances.
Okay.
So it explains if somebody causes harm to you, what force you can use to stop the harm from happening, or let's say prevent the person from continuing to harm you.
Okay.
And the harm increases, I should say. The level of harm increases, that the offenses get more serious. Even to the point where it says you can kill the person.
Yeah. I'm referencing in terms of the police officer, and a regular citizen. So that's what I'm saying, define the scope, that particular scope, that, reasonable force during that particular arrest.
Right.
Police officers see X, Y, yes, and they're probably doing something that is, by the police officer standard, is deemed, yes, illegal and something that they need to be arrested.
Right.
But for some reason, that individual is resisting for various reasons.
Yes.
So what does that reasonable force comes in during that particular?
Well, the police officer has to use enough force to subdue the individual, and not anything more.
All right.
So that is you see, it is not an absolute. It is not constant.
Yeah.
It depends on the circumstances. So if I come to you and say you're under arrest, and you just willingly go with me, then the force I should use, it should be minimal.
Of course.
Just maybe to place you in the handcuffs.
Of course.
And go with you.
Yeah.
I shouldn't be punching you and kicking you just because I feel I can do it. So that is that. But as you say, if somebody is resisting, I shouldn't even be punching you and kicking you then. You understand what I'm saying? I should use force to subdue.
Yes.
To quell your resistance then. Not to beat you up.
All right.
We're not supposed to beat people up. Unless the person is fighting me and punching me, well, I have to punch back.
Some form of self-defense will have to.
Well, of course. And I said, the self-defense, the force will rise based on the level of resistance that you get.
Okay.
Yeah. So that is how it is. So yeah, that is really how the officer should judge. Actually, the officer has to judge how much force should I use based on the circumstances.
Right. And that would lead to my next question now.
Yes.
I'm assuming there's always that legal threshold that must be established, especially when it comes to reasonable suspicion.
Right.
Let's say for a stop and search and all of these things.
Yes.
There's always that concept of reasonable suspicion.
Yes. We call it reasonable grounds.
Yes.
So no stop and search should be arbitrary. So a police officer shouldn't just, I see a man walking down, I go search that man.
Okay.
You have to have a reason, and the reason you have to have must be reasonable. Not because he, let's say you know a guy he has a number of convictions for stealing. So I'll give an example.
Okay.
And you see him walking the street with a bag in his hand. So the saying about all dogs sucking egg. If a dog sucking egg,
he will always
can't apply.
All right.
Because he is allowed by law to walk with a bag in his hand.
Yes.
There is nothing unlawful about him just walking with a bag in his hand. You have to have something else. Either you suspect him of stealing based on some information that you have, or maybe his mannerism. Sometimes,
okay, that's why I was going to ask you. Sometimes his whole persona.
Yeah, the persona, his mannerism kind of arouse your suspicion.
Yes.
But to just see somebody walking the street and decide, maybe I'm going to judge such this guy, that's wrong. And we should not be doing that.
Okay, great. We drew for a break, Superintendent. Let's take that break. When we come back, we continue the conversation. Stay with us, folks, to the point. Classic Radio GBN TV. We'll be right back after the break. Don't touch it out.
Life doesn't stand still. It moves. It grows. It asks you to believe in what's next. Your first car. Owning your home. The business you build. The future you choose to invest in. Life moves in steps. When you're ready to take the next one, we're here to help you move forward with banking solutions designed for life. From vehicle financing and mortgages to education savings, credit solutions, and support for your growing business. Republic Bank, ready for life, every step.
What happens when you add groovy? Our soca and calypso all in one weekend. We get Sammy's Weekend. The most amazing part of the Spice Mass build-up comes to Progress Park, St. Andrew. A trio of competitive shows. Thursday, July 23rd from 8 p.m. The Brian Griffin Groovy semifinals. Friday, July 24th, also at 8 p.m. Dr. Trevor Friday Power Soca semifinals. And on Sunday, July 26th, the Melody Poppytet Calypso semifinals. 5 p.m. sharp. Come out and support the artists as they each give 100% to secure a place in the finals. 3 crowns at stake, 3 nights facing the judges, and 3 nights of thrilling the audience. Sammy's Weekend, July 23rd, 24th, and Sunday the 26th. Progress Park.
Oh Old Mass is back, and it's bigger and funnier than ever. St. George's Lions Club, Spice Mass Corporation and Glenlec present Old Mass 2026 at the Grenada Boys Secondary School on Sunday, July 19th from 3 p.m. Bring the whole family for an afternoon of laughs, local entertainment, exciting prizes, and a special appearance by the Carnival Queen contestants. Tickets are $40 for adults and $15 for children. Available from any Lions or Leo member, Grenadian Optical, and Clear Vision. July 19th at GBSS promises humorous antics and infectious laughter for the whole family. Old Mass, we not giving up. See you then. This advertisement sponsored by Demerara Mutual Life. I'm with Dem.
Parents, do you go to bed with the knowledge that your children are comfortably asleep in the next room? Or are they allowed to attend every Fed advertised? You are responsible for the safety and well-being of your children, and it is your responsibility to know their whereabouts. Children should not be at adult events. Please guide your children, engage them in age-appropriate activities. Let us be spicy parents for this carnival season and beyond. S. Speak to your children about positive behavior. P. Pay attention to them at all times. I. Inspire good behavior in your children by also displaying good behavior. C. Check with your children. Always know their whereabouts. Why? You are responsible for your children. Maintain control to keep them safe. This is a message from the National Parenting Program, Ministry of Social and Community Development, Housing and Gender Affairs.
Welcome back to our listeners. Welcome back to our viewers once again. It's To The Point, Classic Radio, of course, GBN TV. Those of you on our social media platforms, welcome back also. Nice to have you with us this morning. As mentioned in the opening, folks, we're talking about understanding citizens' rights and the police powers. That's our focus conversation this morning. With us this morning, we have, of course, Superintendent Charles with us, and, of course, we have in that conversation. No, my next level in the conversation I want to ask is, now, which constitutional amendment protects your privacy, especially during an unexpected police encounter? You know, sometimes you're home, a police officer shows up, right. You're probably driving, and there's a stop and search, per se. Right. Where does the constitutional amendment, protect your privacy, especially during that? Right. A policeman asks you, let me search your vehicle, let me search your bag, you understand. Talk to me in relation to that, sir.
Okay. So, you said constitutional amendment, but our constitution has never been amended.
Never been amended?
No.
Okay.
We tried to amend it a couple of times, but during those referendums, I believe we had two referendums, both failed.
I understand that.
So, the original constitution guarantees the right to privacy.
Yes.
Of course. And as some people say, it guards it jealously. So, under certain circumstances, a police officer can search someone without a warrant.
Okay.
Vessels, vehicles, other things, but never your house. Mm-hmm. Every time a police officer comes to your house to search, he should be accompanied by a warrant. And there should be another document as well. There should also be an information note. Okay. So before the police officer gets that warrant, he has to go to either a JP or magistrate and swears before the magistrate that he suspects that you have something of an evidential nature, either in your possession or in your property. So the police officer, every time a police officer comes to your house to search, he should have a warrant.
And you have the right to ask for that particular warrant.
Supposed to show it to you.
Yes.
So that's one of your rights. He can search your vehicle without a warrant on suspicion of drugs. Okay. Firearms. He can search your vehicle. And there is nothing else what you call routine stop and search. We don't have.
I just put it in a context, but
it's nothing. We don't have any routine stop and search. So every time we search you, we have to have a reason for searching you.
Searching you.
Yes.
So it's not done routinely.
Of course, if I ask you to search, and you allow me to search, then there is no issue.
Okay.
But I can search your vehicles, your vessel without warrant. But if I have to search your home, I need a warrant. If I have to get any information from your phone, electronic devices, of course I need a warrant because that is even more private.
Yes.
And as I said, the Constitution guards those rights jealously.
Yeah.
So even if I take your phone, I can just go into it and search it without me getting a warrant. So that's important.
And even if I permit you, still doesn't give you the right to do it still.
Yes.
Even though you say
okay, there's a consent form you can sign.
So that has to go through that process first.
Yes. And then you say I give the police officer the permission to search my device or devices. But even in those circumstances, we still go for the warrant because it's safer that way. It makes the evidence more admissible.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that it would be inadmissible, but it makes it, put it that way, harder to challenge.
Okay.
Yes.
Because someone could always go back on their word and say, I didn't permit you to.
Exactly. Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Now, at what precise point during a detention does a citizen have the right to, remain silent? Sometimes folks say, well, I ain't saying nothing.
Yeah. So ours is a little different from the American. This saying you have the right to remain silent, that is not how. Ours is that you're not obliged to say anything.
You're not obliged.
Yes.
All right.
And that should be, according to our judge's rules, as soon as the officer suspects that there is reasonable grounds for suspecting that you have as soon as there is evidence to afford reasonable grounds for suspecting that you commit an offense, he's supposed to caution you.
Okay.
So he's supposed to tell you that you're not obliged to say anything. But if you say, whatever you say would be taken down in writing and maybe given in evidence. So that is our caution. That is this you have the right to remain silent. That's the American.
The Americans.
You call it Miranda. I believe the Miranda rights. We have a caution from what you call our judge's rules.
Okay.
And so you don't have to say, if a police officer pick you up, you could remain silent from since the police officer pick you up. You don't have to answer any of his questions.
Okay.
If you don't want to answer, the police officer can force you to answer. So your right is you have a right to remain silent. You have a right to not say anything because he tells you up front, he's supposed to tell you you're not obliged to say anything unless you wish to do so.
All right.
Yeah.
Also, though, could a citizen decide, if the citizen feel like they knows their rights on a legal ground to decide it's right to legal to wanting to have a lawyer, as we would say locally.
Yes.
As you say, the American will say counsel and stuff like that.
Yes.
Could a citizen invoke that particular right in terms of that legal conjuring questioning?
Yes. And the Constitution also guarantees that again.
Yeah.
So that's in our Constitution. The Constitution says you have a right to legal representation.
Yeah.
And you can call for it anytime. So even in the middle of an interview, let's say in the beginning you said, I want no lawyer, I ain't going to do it on my own. But at some point you realize, say, hey, I need
to say might get me in trouble.
So I need to have a lawyer. So what is supposed to happen, if I'm doing the interview, I'm supposed to stop the interview and allow you to contact your attorney.
Okay, it's interesting to know.
Yes, and it happens all the time. Yeah.
There's always ways when remedies exist. If a citizen rights are violated, especially during an investigation, what could remedy that situation? During the investigation, someone thinks, well, their rights was violated for whatever reason. How could that be remedied, sir?
Well, citizens always have redress.
Yeah.
In court. That is how you would have to sue.
Yeah.
If you think your rights were violated, then you sue. Saying, well, this police officer did something that he should not have done, or he hit me, or he entered my house without a warrant.
Yeah.
He searched my phone without a warrant. Those kind of stuff. And there is always remedy in the court. So citizens have remedy. But the thing about it, the courts are not cheap. And lawyers, when you hire a lawyer, of course you would have to pay the lawyer. So, but we have remedy. That's a remedy. You could complain to the ombudsman maybe, but then ultimately, if you really want to get a remedy, you would have to go to court.
And more or less that may be the most obvious solution you may have at the time, depending on the nature of
right. So the court can order a lot of different things. The court could order that the police officer not harass you. The court could order that the government, because if you sue the police vicariously, you're suing the government as well.
Okay.
Because you sue the commissioner and and then you have to pay some fines. People have successfully sued the police and the government and got redress. Yeah, so as I'm sitting here, we are not always right.
Yeah.
As I would not lie to the general public or lie to you and say we're the monopoly of all knowledge and we know everything and we do everything legally. Sometimes there may be instances when we have acted illegally and persons have taken us to court and gotten redress.
And then sometimes citizens may not understand their rights when they are being violated sometimes.
Right.
May not understand the rights of what they're doing or what they may have done during that process. So is it the responsibility, would you say, sir, that citizens make it their duty to understand their rights? I believe
the rights should be taught in schools, if you ask me. Because when citizens know the right, make policing better too. Police officers would have to step up the game.
Yes.
Because you can't just step to me anyhow anymore. So it is very important that citizens know their rights. It is, and I believe that they have a responsibility to learn them. Because ignorance of the law is not an excuse. So you can't do something and say, well, I didn't. Even though when you do something and you say, well, I didn't know that was a crime, but the thing is you still committed the crime.
Yeah.
So not knowing it's a crime is not an excuse and it's not a defense to the crime.
How concerned it is from an RGPF point of view, especially when citizens do not understand, their rights in terms of when it's been violated a whole lot. And now it becomes in a public domain where they have that public trial and stuff what it has in the public domain. Everybody's talking about it. How concerning is that for?
Well, it is concerning because the police forces never want to get this negative image, and when you have those things being, how should I say, litigated in the public, it could be negative for us. So it makes the police now become more vigilant.
Yes.
And I believe the public now, especially, is more educated than before.
So point.
And then in the age of social media, everything is out there. So to an extent, social media has curbed certain behaviors.
Yeah. Of the police and citizens
generally, in my opinion. Because certain things people we used to do in the public before, as soon as you see a camera up, you might think differently about doing it.
Yes.
It could be a negative on the police as well, because that could make some police officers become a little less assertive. Thinking then, why should I do this? What is social media going to say? And then when you're indecisive, that's a very that's a problem as well. So in my opinion, social media has kind of helped.
We have its negatives and positives in relation.
Well, of course, when those good things, but the thing is, good things get less coverage. It's the bad things that get most of the coverage.
Okay. Tell me, let's talk a wee bit of a concerning nature, especially when it comes to traffic-related stops and so forth.
Right.
So let's touch on that a wee bit. What is the that legal obligation of a driver when it's signaled to pull over by a police officer?
Well,
when you say that legal obligation,
yes, I understand.
Police officer say, "Hey, stop! Should I do it or should I what?"
Yes, you should. It's actually okay. Let me explain it so people will understand. There are only about 3 arrestable offenses under the traffic laws.
Okay.
Failing to comply is one of them.
That's one. Failing to comply.
Yes. So not giving your name and address is one. So I guess we might come to that a little later on.
Mm-hmm.
Giving a false name and address is another one. Driving, if you never had a license before, you could get arrested.
Okay.
If you didn't pay your license, of course, you would just get a ticket for that. But you never had a license before and you're driving, you could get arrested for that. And then you could also get arrested for obstruction. So your vehicle on the road and you're not moving it, you get arrested for this. So, but failing at your point about not stopping, you get arrested for that. So you should stop when a police officer signals you to stop. And let me say, if you see a police officer on a traffic light, the traffic light is secondary, the police officer becomes the primary.
Okay.
So you don't see the light on green and the police officer telling you to stop and you go.
And you feel, well, it's on green, I should proceed.
Yes. So once there is a police officer there, he supersedes the traffic light.
Okay.
Yes. So you should stop when somebody signals you to stop.
All right. That's interesting.
Yes.
No. Under what circumstances does, an officer such a vehicle without a warrant? Talk to that. Well, we briefed that in the first segment, but I want to come back to it a little bit. Well, there are always circumstances where an officer can search a vehicle.
Yes.
Without a warrant. Tell me in relation to that.
If he suspects you of having drugs in your vehicle, he can search you with a warrant. If he suspects you of having a firearm in your vehicle, he can search you search the vehicle without a warrant. I can't remember any other circumstance. There may be more, but I don't remember.
But those are the two.
Those are the two main ones. And of course, if he asks you to search a vehicle and he says, "Okay, go ahead and search," then that's fine.
Instances where you become hesitant in terms of allowing them to search a vehicle under suspicion from the police.
Well,
when I say that, maybe I know I'm carrying something illegal.
Well, yeah, that's why you do that.
And I've been asked to search you've been asked to search by a police officer. And I'm becoming a bit hesitant and saying no, I'm not giving you the right to search my vehicle. Could that officer still search my vehicle without a warrant?
As I said, if he suspects you for drugs and firearms, of course he can search you without a warrant and without your permission. So he doesn't need your permission then to search. So he can actually ask you to step on the vehicle and search it. And the law would cover him in that sense, because under the Drug Act and under the Firearms Act, you can't search someone's vehicle without a warrant. But as I said, you can't search someone's house without a warrant. You have to have a warrant to search your house.
What is that legal difference between voluntary search and compulsory search?
A voluntary search is when, if I ask you to, and you said, okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
If I have a warrant, you can't stop me from searching.
Okay.
I could use force to prevent you from stopping me.
Okay.
I could break your door down if I have a warrant. So let's say I go to your house and I knock, and you're inside and you're not coming out, and you're not opening the door, I can go in.
Okay.
And then you would have to put the damage, and the police officer not paying for that. The police force not paying for that.
Okay.
Yeah, because the warrant gives you the lawful authority to enter premises. Once you armed with a warrant, it is the same thing when a police officer comes with a warrant of arrest. You can't say you're not going. Well, I mean, you could say you're not going, but the police officer could use force now
and take you away.
Yes. So, because you have the weight, or you call it the weight of the law behind him. So that is the difference. Voluntary search, you agree? Say, of course, if I come to your house and I say, listen, I want to search your house, and say, hey, officer, go ahead, and that's fine. Yeah. Without a warrant, I mean.
Okay.
But if I
so that's where the involuntary, that's where the voluntary part.
Yes. But if I do not have a warrant, you say, no, officer, you're not searching my house today. Actually, leave my premises.
All right.
And if the officer doesn't leave, then the officer becomes a trespasser.
Okay.
Because in law, you are allowed to walk up to someone, even though the person have a gate, you're allowed to open the gate and go and knock on the person's door.
Yeah.
The law allows you to do that. When you become a trespasser, is when the person asks you to leave and you don't.
Okay.
Yeah. So a police officer is investigating a matter, he comes to your house wanting to ask you some questions about, the law says he can ask any question. Say, officer, I'm not answering any question, and leave my place, please. If the police doesn't leave, he becomes a trespasser.
Right.
If he doesn't suspect you of any crime, then he's a trespasser.
So what is your rights when a situation like that occur as a citizen? You mentioned a police officer comes to my home and he without a warrant and he wants to search, and I say, officer, as you mentioned, he is considered trespassing, my premises. There are instances where we have seen or heard of officers doesn't want to leave for various reasons because they may have some sort of suspicion. Right. They don't want to leave. What is my rights now as a citizen in reference to that?
Your rights is you can ask the officer to leave.
Yes.
I would not advise you to try to use force to get the officer to leave. That might put you in some hot water, put it this way. But if the officer doesn't come legal, then he's illegal.
Yeah.
So, and as I said before, when you ask him to leave, he's now a trespasser.
Yeah.
If he doesn't have a warrant. If he's in hot pursuit of some individual, he can enter your house without a warrant because he's actually in hot pursuit. And he sees the individual go into your house, he can enter your house in those set of circumstances. Yes. But apart from that, he would need a warrant to enter.
Yeah.
Unless you say, well, officer, come in and search. If you give permission, then everything is nice and dandy. But in the absence of that, then the officer would have to go and get a warrant and come back.
All right. But my question is the officer decided he's not leaving. Do I call make a 911 call now for the police themselves?
Well, yes, sure. because there may be somebody who can advise the officer, listen, you need to leave the person's premises.
Yes.
Because you don't have a warrant. You don't have reasonable suspicion or grounds for suspecting the person, then why are you there?
Yeah.
Remember, I am sure the officer there would have somebody senior. And then they can give him the advice to leave. Police officers, I believe, should know that. I said should know.
All right.
Yeah, so if you go to somebody and the person asks you to leave and you don't have any really reason for being there, then you should leave. Yeah.
All right. So we're due for a break. Let's take it. When we come back, we continue the conversation. Stay with us, folks. To the Point, Classic Radio, GBN TV. We will be right back. Don't touch it out.
Hello, Grenada.
GBN Massology is back. We're officially on the road to spice up the Carenage 3.0, and it all starts here. Live from GBN Studios every Friday at 1:30 p.m. Streaming across GBN platforms, bringing pure energy, culture, and spice mass vibes straight to your screen. Hosted by Charlton, powered by Graphic Sound System, featuring fresh faces and seasoned stars. Massology is what the culture takes center stage. WhatsApp 407-8458 now to secure your spot on Massology. And don't miss the repeat broadcast at 8:30 p.m. This is Massology, the heartbeat of Spice Mass. Don't miss it.
Mommy, I want to go in Uncle Topper Kids Fest.
You wash the wares, you clean your room, you make up your bed?
Yes, Mommy. I don't ever want to miss Uncle Topper Kids Fest, It's a free go-kart rides, free face painting, free horseback riding, and all the favorite cartoon characters will be there. Plus, Uncle Natty and Tonda, Uncle Kerry, Uncle Mori and Uncle Tara, Uncle Dash, Uncle Pippi and Uncle Jabki, Uncle Lava and Angelo, Uncle Khalifa and Happy Boy, plus Uncle Jello, and not forgetting my favorite Uncle Tapri. Saturday, July 18th, Monrouge Plainfield, 3 p.m. to 9 p.m. Admission. Kids $10 and adults is $20. It's the biggest kids event in Grenada every year, so how am I gonna miss that?
Child, behave yourself, eh?
Mommy, if you don't bring me in there, I don't know what I'm gonna do it.
Introducing Tropical Catering Services.
The flavor of Grenada for all of life's moments.
From intimate gatherings to grand celebrations, we craft experiences you'll remember. Farm-to-table freshness, bold island flavors,
flawless presentation,
full-service catering for every event.
Weddings, parties, corporate functions, and more.
Based in Grand Mall, St. George's, Grenada,
we bring island vibes to your venue.
Relish the moment. We handle the rest.
Tropical Catering Services.
Catering for all of life's events.
This Emancipation Weekend, freedom takes the sea. The Media Workers Association of Grenada invites you aboard Unscripted, the Freedom Edition, Friday, July 31st. Step into an unforgettable night of music, vibes, culture, and connection aboard the ultimate summer cruise experience. Meet your favorite media personalities, party under the stars, and celebrate freedom the unscripted way aboard the Ecstasy. Boarding is at 7 p.m., sailing at 8 p.m. Dress code freedom chic, bold, stylish, unapologetically you. Tickets are limited and going fast. Get your tickets online at GoToFet and at recognized ticket outlets. Unscripted, the Freedom Edition, because the best stories are the ones you never planned.
Welcome back to our listeners. Welcome back to our viewers. In this segment, we'll also invite our listeners and viewers, if you do have a question or two in terms of the conversation that we're having this morning, understanding, your rights as citizens. And so if you do have a question or two, you feel free to do so. Superintendent Charles, welcome back. I have one question before we start entertaining the calls. Mm-hmm. There are times we see or we hear about some circumstances where a police officer may be having a conversation with someone. Mm-hmm. Another citizen gets involved for various reasons. We call it obstruction.
Yes.
Explain that to me a wee bit. How does that come about, and what can be done by a police officer under those circumstances?
Right. So an obstruction can maybe be defined as preventing or making it more difficult for a police officer to conduct his duties. So anything that would prevent him and makes it more difficult for him to conduct his duty, that's an obstruction. Mm-hmm. And you could get arrested for that.
All right.
So a lot of times you see police officers dealing with a situation and somebody else just jump in. Might even say, he can't arrest you for that. Don't go with him. If the person doesn't do anything, then that's not an obstruction. But if I tell you don't go with him and then you start resisting now, like the person listen to you.
All right.
And so that makes it more difficult for the police officer to conduct his duty. And that is an obstruction.
Okay.
Yes.
And you could now be arrested yourself.
Yes. So instead of one arrest, we have two.
Yeah.
And it happens all the time. You see people come and they pushing the camera in your face. They're getting close. They're speaking to the person. If sometimes it's not even their business, they're not related in any way. You don't know what is happening. You just jump in, and then you make it. Sometimes when you do it, the person just run away.
Yeah. So
the police officer can no longer conduct his duty. Another thing is you can cause obstruction on yourself.
Okay.
If I'm a police officer and I say, hey, I suspect you from stealing from the supermarket, and I want to search you, and you run, you prevent me from performing my duty.
Yes.
And that's an obstruction as well.
Okay.
So you can cause obstruction in yourself.
Okay, understand. Okay, sometimes we see that from time to time, especially in communities.
Yes.
Police will probably go to have, there's an incident has occurred in a particular community,
and everybody
seems to want to come around and stuff. So it's by law, citizens are supposed to stand back.
Yes. Even if it's your family member. Well, of course, you could ask the police, what did he do? That's not really obstructing the police officer. Okay. But when you start doing it, you see some people grabbing onto the police, they're grabbing onto the person, telling you not.
Parents maybe want to, ask a bit of defense for their sons or daughters sometimes.
Right. So you could ask, officer, what did he do? And of course, in my mind, that's not an obstruction. And well, I'm chatting with him because I suspect him of stealing, whatever the case might be. Because let's say he's a family member or a parent.
Yeah.
But you was just a passerby. What right or reason do you want to find out why the officer is talking to this individual? That's not your business.
Okay.
So when you jump in now and you make it more difficult, you prevent the officer from performing his duty, then you're committing a crime.
Okay.
And you could go to jail for that,
All right.
For obstruction.
All right. Well, that was my final question in this segment. We will give the opportunity to our listeners and viewers to chime in. 435-2041. We have both the WhatsApp and the direct line that you can call in via. I beg of you to be brief in terms of your contribution this morning. We do have our first caller via WhatsApp. WhatsApp caller, you're live. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning, GT, and good morning, officer.
Good morning. Good morning.
Yes, officer, I do have a question in regards to the warrant. Now, if the warrant isn't signed by a magistrate judge or a JP, is that warrant legal?
No.
And can a person then go by and if the officer then enters your home with a false pretense of a warrant, because if it's not signed, it's not a warrant, is that breaking and entering?
Well, to a point, yes. Because if the officer enters your house illegally, then he should not have been there. If the officer comes with a warrant that is unsigned, and he enters your house, he enters your house unlawfully, and then you have redress. You could get redress for that, of course.
So you can thereby go to another police station, report the officer, and the officer could be arrested.
No. The officer, the redress you have would be civil. You would have to take him. He would be infringing now on your constitutional rights to privacy.
Well, he would have broken the law. So is that not an offense if he breaks and enter because he doesn't have the right to do so? That is breaking and entering.
Yeah. That would, as I said, your redress would have to be the officer, because you remember when the officer performing his duty, there are certain liabilities that protects him.
Yeah, but he doesn't have the right to enter your premise without a warrant. And if he doesn't have a warrant to enter it, then that officer is doing something that is not his duty. His duty is not to enter your place, because he cannot enter your place without a warrant or without your consent. So if he does go by and enter your house without a warrant, then he's doing something illegal. And so it's not a matter of whether or not, yes, the police officer can break the law. And if the police officer breaks the law, he's entitled to remedies within the law, which means that the officer can be charged, they can be sentenced to imprisonment if he does break the law.
Correct. Yes, that's correct. I agree with that.
So thereby, if he does enter your house without a warrant, which is breaking and entering, then he is entitled to be punished according to the law, which is breaking and entering.
I wouldn't say it's breaking. It says entering your house unlawfully. I don't believe the officer would be arrested for that. Well, officers have been arrested on a number of occasions, and some of them are in prison for committing different crimes. So everybody is entitled to arrest, but for this one, entering your house without a warrant, I believe that is infringing now on your constitutional rights, and constitutional redress is in a civil court.
Yeah, and I do agree. If he comes to your home and he enters that way, then that will be that. But if he comes under false pretense, which is that he comes with the propagation that he has a warrant to actually enter your house, and he does that, that is where the obscurity in terms of him entering with a false pretense is breaking and entering.
My opinion is the same thing. He's still infringing on your constitutional rights. Whether it's by just doing it or by a trick, he's still infringing on your constitutional rights to privacy.
Okay. Thank you very much, officer.
You're welcome.
Thank you, caller. Thank you, caller. Thank you very much for, of course, your contribution this morning. 435-2041. I think we did touch that when I asked about your remedies.
Yes.
I think we did touch on that.
About the
we did touch on that just a wee bit. 435-2041. 435-2041. Folks, you can chime in if you do have a question or two in relation to our conversation this morning. We do have another caller. Caller, you're live. Good morning. Welcome.
Good morning.
Caller, you may have to turn down whatever device you have in the background. Please turn it off before you continue.
It is down.
Okay, go right ahead, please.
I would like the officer to tell us what the law says and not what his opinion is. Is an officer entering your premises with a false declaration of a warrant? Is this an offense, an arrestable offense, or not? It's not an opinionated question.
Not an arrestable offense, no.
Okay. Thank you, caller. Thank you there. I have a message here from someone via the WhatsApp. They're saying, is making video considered obstruction?
No. If you're in the public space, somebody can snap you or video you. Mm-hmm. It depends on how the video is being made. If you come right up into my face, invading my public space, my private, well, you come too close then.
Yes.
They cause me to react differently. Then it's different from standing at a distance and taking a video. But just making a video is not obstruction. No.
All right. So if I'm walking through the tongue of St. George and someone decides they notice GT walking and they make a video of me,
you can't do anything about it.
There's nothing I can do about that.
No.
Under the
You're in public.
In the public.
Yeah.
All right. Caller, you're live. Good morning. Welcome.
Hi. Good morning to you and to the officers here.
Good morning.
I missed the program, so I'm not sure there's a specific theme.
We basically talking about our focus conversation was understanding your rights as citizens and the powers of the police. That's our main focus of conversation this morning.
Okay. Well, I hope I'll be allowed to raise something slightly different.
Well, I would have preferred we stay on the topic this morning, caller, if we can.
Okay, well, I'll leave it for another day.
All right, have a good one. Thank you so much. 435-2041, 435-2041. That's the number. We have just approximately 5 more minutes left on the program this morning. And we do have another caller. Let's see what this caller has to offer. Caller live. Good morning. Welcome.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Go right ahead, please.
There's a question concerning a warrant for searching in a house. Is that warrant, is it because there's a fact or there's a suspicion? So an officer have a warrant to come through my house, break it if I'm home, I'm not home, and found nothing. Who stand the cost of that damage? Thank you.
Thank you, caller.
If the officer is armed with a warrant, and let's say the officer will not just break down your place. If you're not refusing to give him entry, and then he breaks the place, then the owner of the property has to bear that cost. Once he's armed with a warrant, yes, he can use reasonable force to enter your house.
Once he has that warrant.
Once he is armed with a warrant, and as I said, accompanied by an information note. So every time the police officer comes to your property, he has to have 2 documents. Hope the public is listening. Not one, he has to have 2. So he has to have a warrant, and he also has what you call an information note. That is where he goes to a magistrate or a JP and swears that he has information that you have something in your property or in your house that is of an evidence of something that is of evidentiary nature. But he should have 2 documents, not one.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. We do have another caller. Caller live. Good morning. Welcome.
Yeah. Good morning.
Good morning. Go right ahead, please.
My question is.
Caller, you there? Caller, good morning. Guess we lost that caller there. 435-2041, 435-2041. If you do have a question or two you may like to ask, of course, my guest this morning, feel free to do that. As mentioned, our focus conversation this morning, we're talking on understanding citizens' rights and police powers. We do have another caller. Let's go back to the line. Caller live. Good morning. Welcome.
morning. So,
Caller, there seems a television on your radio in the background, maybe a little bit turned on.
that's
Please.
better. That's better.
Yes, go right ahead, please.
Yeah. My little humble point is this: at the end of the day, we should concentrate on okay, yes, there must be law, there must be legislation, right? But we must place a lot of emphasis on teaching people to act responsibly, right? And to and in our everyday actions, then in everyday life, concentrate on telling people or encouraging people and to act more responsibly. So then the police work will be made easier, the citizens will live easier, and everybody will live easier. The next thing is that I think the police at least should even thing like encouraging, like go through the school system then, right, and teaching the youths about how to really act responsibly about the laws, and then as a result everything will be made easier for everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, caller. Thank you, and appreciate your contribution this morning. And the caller did make some sense.
Yes, of course, yes. I agree. If everybody acts responsibly, then life would be easier for everybody. But just one thing I forgot to mention when we were talking earlier on about rights of individuals.
Yeah.
When a police officer tells you that you're under arrest, he must tell you what he's arresting you for.
Okay.
So so if he doesn't tell you, then you as a citizen have the right to ask, well, officer, why are you arresting me?
Okay.
So he can just come and tell you, you're under arrest. He has to have a reason for arresting you.
So you should say, I'm arresting you for X, Y, or Z.
Right. But even if you think you didn't commit a crime, you should not resist.
Yeah.
You should go ahead, and then you have redress in the court, because when you resist, then you will get another charge of resisting arrest. So, but a police officer must tell you, and he must tell you as soon as it's reasonably practical, that why he's arresting you. Because if I come to you and somebody's in a fight, and there's a lot of things going on, I might not be able to tell you there and then why you're under arrest. But if you're in a fight, you know what you're doing to it.
Yeah.
So, but if, let's say you walk in the street, the officer comes up to you and say you're under arrest. He should either say, well, I'm arresting you for this, or have a warrant for you, or something of the sort. So, citizens should know that. The officer must tell you why you're under arrest.
Okay. We do have another caller. Caller, your life. Good morning. Welcome.
Yes. Good morning. Good morning. Are you hearing me?
Yes. Go right ahead, please.
Wonderful. My question is, what is the difference between detainment and arrest, and what are the processes with both? Thanks.
Thank you, caller.
Okay. In my opinion, a detainment and an arrest is the same thing. Because when I detain you, the same way as if I arrest you, I am restraining your liberty. So once I tell you you're detained, an arrest is to detain. So most of the time when you detain you, I detain you. If I say I'm arresting you on suspicion, that's actually a detainment.
Okay.
That's a detention.
Okay.
If I arrest you because you commit a crime, then the next step is to charge you because you already committed the crime. We use detention when we're investigating still. So that's the big difference. I detain you, I'm still investigating. You're not really under arrest. But in the truth, technically, you can't leave whenever you want to go. So I'm restraining your liberty. So you're technically under arrest. So there is not so much of a big difference. The difference is that when I arrest you, having the evidence to charge you, then that's an arrest. We call that's the normal arrest. When I take you into custody because I'm investigating and I have not yet charged you, we call that detention.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So, Superintendent Charles, that's where we're going to take a wrap for today's edition of To The Point. I want to thank you once again, sir, for coming and sharing the information. I guess citizens now may have a clear understanding of their rights.
Well, I hope they have a
clearer understanding of their rights.
Yes.
And, will make the necessary adjustments where they have to. And, of course, understanding also the powers of the police under the situations that may occur from time to time. I want to thank you once again. Anything in closing before we wrap this?
Well, I just want to encourage, especially for the carnival season, to encourage us to do everything in moderation. I know we're going to drink alcohol. I know we're going to want to party. I know we're going to want to drive.
Yeah.
You see around these times we have a lot of accidents because of people falling asleep at the wheel. They're too drunk to drive. And then alcohol causes more fights too.
Yeah.
So when on the alcohol you have a lot of fights, and then you go stabbing to murder. And those kind of things, because the stabbing could end up somebody
could be
dead.
Fatal. Yeah.
Yes. So I want to encourage us from this program to you understand it better, but I hope you did, and then let's all behave, as the gentleman said, more responsibly.
All right.
And have a very good carnival.
All right. Thank you once again, Superintendent Charles, and best wishes for the rest of the day, sir.
Thank you for having me.
Hey, folks, that's where we're going to take a wrap for today's edition of To The Point. I want to thank all who contributed. Have a good one, folks. That's where we say goodbye.